what is going on with the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Seriously, what is wrong? What is going on here? We, the American people, you deserve answers. He barely has any public events. His vice president, Kamala Harris, is taking solo calls with world leaders. That would be the commander-in-chief's job. Joe reportedly starts getting ready for bed after a little milky around 7 p.m. He's the first president in modern history that has not held an official press conference in his first 48 days. And during the rare occasion that Biden does actually appear in front of the cameras, usually to bypass Congress and totally abandon a co-equal branch of government, that being the legislative branch, his team quickly shuts down any and all questions, and they go to bars and tone, or they hurry Joe away from the public eye, or just turn off the feed completely, as we saw last week. Take a look at what happened earlier today.
They want to give a wave.
I see him.
Yeah. And then we also have
Don't jump. We need you.
And then if I could just...
Let's go, you guys. Come on, press. We're going to move out. Let's go, press. Guys, let's go. Come on, press. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Crisis at the border, sir. Let's go, you guys. Come on. Come on, let's go.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Okay, why is his staff continuing to hide President Biden? What do they know? We have a right to know. That's because the people surrounding Joe Biden knew that the real Joe Biden was his campaign's biggest liability. Now, of course, at the time, we did report on his very strange basement bunker campaign. We did question why a presidential candidate would be in hiding for weeks on end, disappear for days ahead of a debate or some big event or his speech at the Democratic National Convention. Of course, it was virtual. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing doctor. But we have pointed out what are obvious and visible cognitive struggles. We continue to do so after his inauguration. But for some reason, after the inauguration, the media mob, they didn't care what I was saying initially during the campaign, that he looked weak, frail, and was struggling cognitively. Then Joe becomes president. Then the media mob became outraged at yours truly and by my coverage. Now, I responded by just playing example after example after example of Joe struggling mightily and regularly, and then gave the media mob the tape that was necessary to make their own decisions. Then they decided it was best not to fight with me on what was clear as day. So they feigned indignation, and that has now largely subsided because anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear, you can clearly tell that Joe Biden is struggling, and sadly, it is only getting worse. Take a look.
I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there. I want to make sure we thank the secretary.
Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green, Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell. And what am I doing here? For Secretary of Health and Education Service, I nominated Javier Baccaria. You know, Javier Becerra, excuse me. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip.
It's not Shirley, it's Sheila Jackson Lee. And by the way, what am I doing here? We have shown you tape of him in 2012 and 2016 and today, and there is a dramatic, visible decline. That person is supposed to be the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, and he can't even remember the name of his own Secretary of Defense or where the Secretary of Defense works. Joe, that would be the Pentagon. His name is Lloyd Austin. It's not that hard to remember. This is getting scary, not because I say so. You can disagree with me all you want, but the entire world is watching. And yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking. One headline, Sky News Australia, quote, Joe Biden struggles to name his defense secretary. Another, quote, never before has the leader of the free world been so cognitively compromised. Now, if that's what our allies are reporting, I can only imagine, and frankly am fearful of what our enemies may think. And we have a lot of enemies, a lot of hostile regimes, a lot of hostile actors like Vladimir Putin, the mullahs in Iran, the president of China, Kim Jong-un, all hostile actors, hostile regimes. And now you better believe that they're actively watching very closely and no doubt would try to capitalize if they see Biden's apparent weaknesses. Now, meanwhile, back here at home, I'm not the only one in America seeing this. A brand new poll by Rasmussen shows half the country, 50%, is now worried that Joe Biden is not physically or mentally up to the job. That's half the country. It's not just Sean Hannity. We've just been willing to say it earlier than others because I guess maybe others were being polite or they were too afraid to say it. And late night, by the way, television, the Trump-hating comics, they say they're struggling to find material about Biden to talk about. Really? That's probably only because of your pure political bias and rage against Trump, and it's also why your shows are mostly failing. Look at this poll today. Only 34% of Americans are very confident that Biden is physically and mentally capable of being president. This would be a crisis in confidence. With poll numbers like those, a typical administration, what they would do is they would send out the commander-in-chief for a lengthy press conference to prove to the American people and to the world that our president is healthy, engaged, energetic, has full mental acuity and full mental fitness. But the Biden administration is doing the opposite.